Welcome to the Nourish and Restore podcast with me, Nina, and my awesome friend Nicole, where we bring all things nourishing and restorative to you, your body, mind, and soul. A chance for you to enjoy simple tools to help you live a happier, healthier, and more peaceful life. Join us in conversation as we explore our interesting theme for today. Hello, Nicole, and how are you today?
Thank you, Nina. I'm awesome. Thank you. Looking forward to chatting to everybody today about the subject of overwhelm. How are things going on your side?
All good this side still. No, nothing has really changed, I don't think. I'm excited because we're probably going to do a bit of traveling at the end of July. So that is exciting. Kind of travel is one of those things that also for me stir up our little theme a little of overwhelm, because there's so much that needs to get organized. We're chatting about being organized last week, and just when we travel, being organized enough. The whole traveling scenario is quite stressful nowadays. So just kind of exhaling, being present in the moment. And I know you are going to have plenty of good tricks and advice for all of us that might be stepping into overwhelm in the upcoming weeks, or those who are currently facing it, or those who just need to make sure that they keep themselves out of that space. So I'm so excited to hear what you have to share with us today.
Thank you, Nina. Yeah, traveling definitely adds to the topics of overwhelm. And once again, just really getting all your ducks in a row and making sure that your lists are ticked off for what you need, obviously brings a lot of relief in that area. So as I said, I would like to address parents of children, really all age. I know I was speaking about teenagers more and students at varsity, but I feel the younger that we can really tap into that, catching our kids being in that state of overwhelm. I feel that nowadays there's so much pressure that's being put on children at school to perform. Then there's so much pressure from their colleagues, school friends. There's so much bullying going on. Kids can really be very mean at school, and I feel that if we can just tap into that state of overwhelm, or feel into that state of overwhelm for our children, and speak and discuss it openly, there's nothing wrong with coming home and having a good cry and, openly saying, maybe I got a really bad mark and I'm so upset about it, or I've been bullied at school. I think just being able to open that communication with our children is so vital, that they know that they can speak to us about everything and anything. And then for us as parents, I've made that mistake so many times myself, is, jumping into that state of being the rescuer, like, where's that child that has bullied my child, which is all great. But at the end of the day, that's not what our children need. Our children need somebody to listen to. Our children need somebody that can give them tools and tricks of how to move past that state of feeling overwhelmed and, not knowing what the next step is.
So, I think what you bring up, Nicole, sorry, I'm just going to butt in quickly, is such an important thing with kids and this feeling of overwhelm, and just allowing them to come and have that open communication, because often by just expressing and releasing how we feel, not necessarily do we want a solution to our problem, but just voicing it helps to shift it somehow and move. Yes, sometimes if there's intense bullying going on as a parent, one has to get involved. But sometimes if it's a smaller issue, and this is when, if we allow kids to speak, that often when they're speaking, they actually come up with if you as a parent are asking the right question, they will often come up with their own solution. And that is so empowering. Instead of mom or dad or aunt or uncle coming in to fix the problem, they actually end up knowing or realizing how they can solve the problem or the issue that's arising. So, like you're saying, communication, open communication, so important.
Absolutely, and exactly as you said, but in order for a child to be able to think clearly and come up with these solutions for themselves, they have to be in a state of relaxation, in a state of calm, in order for them to be able to bring through that information. So
how do kids get to that space? How can we assist our kids to get into that calm space when they come home a little agitated or on edge or stressed or anxious?
So, I found that what worked really well for me at home with my daughter was to, especially in times of stress when they are busy writing tests, even at a young age, if they're busy writing tests and you need to get home and study again or help them with something, just break that day up. They've spent the whole day at school. Try and if you are able to pick them up, if you don't work a 9-to-5 job, try and pick them up from school, maybe go for a walk on the beach or, go for a walk in the forest or just be on a field. Just bring them, allow the transition to be perhaps something in nature, or go for an ice cream or a hot chocolate and have that, connection. How was your day? I know that some people can so oberflächlich, what's oberflächlich in English now? Superficial. It's not the right word, but superficially ask, how are you?
And then the standard, I'm fine.
Exactly. And sometimes I feel, which has happened to some people that I know, is that, people ask you, how are you? And before you can even answer, the person that's asked you, how are you, is already out the door. That's not genuine. And a child will completely get that and say, okay, I can see they're asking me how I'm doing, but they're not even giving me a chance to answer. So what?
Mom is preoccupied with this or that, or is on her phone, or is
exactly
10 conversations.
Exactly, and that in itself is already showing that the parent is dealing with a state of overwhelm. That's a huge topic, and I know that at the end of the day, that whoever's listening to me, as a parent, please don't feel pressurized and say, oh my God, I'm doing that wrong. Oh my God, I'm not doing that. Because at the end of the day, we are all doing what we can and what we know. And when we know better, we can do better. I was exactly the same. But I really feel that when we give the other person opposite us that time, that space, that energy to open up and create that safe space, it's so beautiful because you can then come home after school. You can quickly do an exercise. It's 5 or 10 minutes of just bringing them out of what they were in now before into the present now, having fun and doing something completely different, and then coming home maybe to have lunch and carry on with homework and studying. And in that space of that transition, connecting with them, how are you feeling, how was school, how's everything with your friends, and then allowing them the space to talk. And as you were saying, with that bringing children down to a state of relaxation. I mean, my daughter used to come home from school at a young age, and I could feel she was completely out of sorts. And before I even knew to, kind of try and do that transitioning, I would literally grab her and I would literally have her sit on my lap and hold her so tight till she fell asleep. And it took 5 or 10 minutes of being out. And then afterwards, she would wake up and she would be a completely new person. It's often that stimulation and everything at school, and then you come home and you're like completely wired, and then you still then you still expected to do more at home. It's hugely overwhelming for a 8-9-year-old child, you know. So yes, that's one of the things. You know, playing relaxing music. You know, I used to love playing Mozart, baby Mozart, for my daughter, and even for myself. I mean, it's just such beautiful, soft music in the background. Do yoga with your child. Do breathing with your child. Just simple breathing in, holding the breath, and breathing out. Releasing, you know, and we can even breathe in the word let and breathe out the word go. You know, just allowing them to do that for not even 5 minutes. That already helps that transition from one space into the other energetically. And for us parents, you know, of having those busy schedules, you know, if we have a 9-to-5 job, how do we schedule in the parenting? How do we schedule in one-on-one time with our children? And you know, it's really by, as you said in the last episode, it's about really making sure that we know exactly what is happening when we can give so much of ourselves here for our family. When do we need to give so much of ourselves at work for clients or whatever the situation may be? And then also really importantly is to always check in on yourself, because if your cup is running over, so will the cup of everybody who's in your space, you know, whether it's workspace or home space or whatever it may be, and to really, really take time for yourself. Do some breathing exercises. We've got some amazing exercises in our first series of podcasts that we did a couple of months ago. To be able to calm the nervous system, a very good exercise is to just really place your hand on your forehead, close your eyes. You know, if you know that you've got a big meeting or an exam coming up, you can place your hand on your forehead and the other hand over your occipital area. And just breathe into that and visualize that exam going well, visualize that meeting going well. And when you're fully in that state of visualization and you're fully feeling and seeing, and I can even, you know, immediately have a smile on my face because I can see the outcome, the goodness of it. And I really move into that feeling state of it. How does it feel to have passed that exam or have, you know, achieved well in the meeting? Good. And then once you have had that really big release, as I just had now with the sigh, you can just give gratitude for that and release and let go. Such a simple practice. And then, of course, you know, we have other practices that we do as kinesiologists to help the nervous system. Often it's little things for us, especially for us adults, where we've experienced a stage of overwhelm when we were younger, and we placed a coping mechanism in for us to get through that time. Often these coping mechanisms are very outdated and they actually cause us more stress than the situation itself. So by being able to connect with me, we can do a one-on-one session in person or on Zoom, depending on where you are in the world. And we can assist you with reprogramming that nervous system in order for you to go through that situation in a better way, with a better neurological option. Yeah.
In your experience, or that you've seen with the clients that you've worked with, what kind of like outdated beliefs have you noticed come up in the past, where there's a certain belief that needs to be changed or released or adapted so that less overwhelm can be navigated in the present moment that way. Does anything come to mind, or am I putting you on the spot?
No. So mostly it is this negative fear spiral in your head. You know, the first thing that I feel a lot of my clients have is this like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And the minute like that energy for me, the minute you say I can't do it, it's like the wall, you know, absolutely. And how do you get through that? You know, you've already, your whole being, you keep on saying, oh my God, I can't do this. I just don't know. I can't do this. Like, you know, and then your whole body goes, and I often say to them, it's not that you can't do it, because you can do anything you want to do. You've got to differentiate. Do you want to do it? Yeah, because if you want to do it, you can do it. If you don't want to do it, of course, then you can't do it, in inverted commas. And often also what I find is that it's not so much your own negative sentence that is coming to the forefront, but an adapted, or not really adapted, it's what you've been told, you know, when you come home from school or you come home from work or whatever the situation, and it's just like, you know, well, you're just not good enough, you know, or I expected you to get a 4 in maths because you just don't get it, you know. We've got to be so careful with the words that we choose. And yes, okay, if somebody doesn't get it, you don't have to say it in that way. You can assist them, you know, with other tools in order for them to get that confidence, in order for them to be able to present themselves in the best way that they can in that situation. So it really is all about releasing outdated beliefs. It's all about releasing stuff that you've taken on from other people's opinions and judgments. And then, of course, you know, that own self-negative talk that one has in one's mind that needs to be adjusted and changed. Yeah.
I know a big belief that I had was, for example, like a lot of my self-worth was often dictated by the numbers of yoga students I had in my classes for a long, long time. And it was a belief that I had to work through or shift out of, in the sense that I believe, like now I believe I'm a lovely, a great, fantastic yoga teacher. And it doesn't matter if I've got 2 or 20 people in the class, it's not going to change that belief. But when I started teaching, if I had none, 1, 2, I really believed that I wasn't a good yoga teacher, that there was something wrong with me and what I was offering or teaching or how I was doing things. So it is often we need to change or shift our belief so that there's less overwhelm, because when you start to feel that you're not a good or great yoga teacher, you start questioning yourself, and then you go, like you're saying, into that negative spiral, and it's just not helpful to be in that space.
No, it isn't, you know, because once you are in that negative spiral and in that state of overwhelm, what happens, right? You come to an exam, you have these negative thoughts in your mind, you get nervous, the information that you've studied till 5 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning isn't sticking. You know, you're completely stressed out, you're probably perspiring, you know, a lot, which then starts a whole different thing. And possibly you won't
then you get self-conscious, and then you're worried what
that's what I was saying. That starts a whole nother cycle. And then you don't get the results that you want or that you could have. Not just that you want.
You know that you can, and that you know that you can, that you're good enough to get those results.
Absolutely. And then there's one negative result after the other. And then when it gets really bad, it's like, I've just proven to everybody that I'm a failure because I just failed that meeting. I failed that meeting. I failed this exam, you know, and then it's it's never too late. Never is too late. But try not to allow it to even get to that. Yeah, when you're feeling this overwhelm, and when that trigger, for instance, I can't do it, comes up, take a step back, do the front and back, visualize whatever is about to happen to be a positive outcome. Feel it in your bones, feel it in your heart, allow that big release to come, and then move forward. If we go into the snowball effect from one thing to the other, we can really end up being in a space of complete breakdown, and that is a cause of a nervous breakdown. And even then, there are exercises, do yoga, go for breath work. But the most important thing, and I'm sure that you've been able to hear this throughout everything that I've said in the last couple of minutes, is me time, space time, reflection time, relaxation time. Just create that space in order for you to just bring yourself back into yourself and be able to think clearly, move forward with intention. I think that's
so Nicole, to sum up, because I think you've loaded us with loads of information and tips and ideas, especially for kids, after school or whatnot, get them out into nature, spend some quality time with them, really connecting deeply on a heart-to-heart level. You can use tactile sensation, so the sense of touch. And I mean, this is not just for the kid, but it's for us adults as well. If it's a self-massage or just like that squeeze, to really just feel and to settle the nervous system with touch, listening to soft music, breathing, doing movement, if it's yoga or whatever the story is. And then, like you were saying, hand on the forehead, hand on the occipital region at the back of the neck, and breathe and visualize the positive outcome. And just to create space. Did I kind of sum that all up correctly?
Beautifully summed up, Nina. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. And try it out. Let us know how it works for you. If there are situations where you feel that have gone over that line of, being able to do the tips and tricks that I've just mentioned, please get in touch with me. I'm more than happy to help, able to help on Zoom calls or in person, as I said, depending on where you are at. And thank you to all the listeners for taking time out, for being here, for being open to new ways and suggestions of how to assist yourself and your loved ones. And then just a reminder, to tune in again next week, because next week we have the lovely Nina Sachs on the other side, who will be letting us know how to deal and help ourselves navigate through overwhelm. There we go. Thank you.
No, I look forward to chatting with everyone, and thanks again, Nicole. It's always so lovely to chat to you. You always have such beautiful insight, easy tips. Things don't need to be complicated. We don't need to do complicated things to make life simpler and less stressful. So thank you for that reminder, and also just reminding us that it's not just for ourselves, but that it moves into our families and our communities when we take initiative and to make a change. There is that positive snowball effect, not the overwhelm effect, of the positive happening in and around all of us. So thank you. And if anyone needs some support, again, Nicole is your lady. You will definitely want to get hold of her. All right, my friend, lovely chatting, and look forward to catching up with you next week.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Ciao for now, and wishing you a nourishing day. Mwah. Bye.
Namaste. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Nourish and Restore podcasts today. To find out more about Nourish and Restore, visit our website or Facebook page, nourishandrestore.yoga. For more information on working with Nina Sachs, visit www.yogaa.co.za. And to work with me, Nicole Angelica Panzer, visit www.lov-me.com. Links will be in the show notes. We look forward to catching up with you next week. Namaste and have a nourishing day.